Hey, so here we are with Hot for History talking about the latest in royal family news, especially now about Meghan Markle and some letters that have been leaked to the press or released, which just happens to coincide with just a few days after Meghan had decided not to attend the coronation. So we're going to talk about royal family news. The Queen just would have had her 97th birthday yesterday, and there was a big celebration in the UK regarding her date of birth. So I am Deanna from Hot for History, and I want to welcome you all here tonight as we kind of chat a little bit about the goings on of the royal family. As we look, we can almost see the coronation just literally within days, pretty much. And that will be on May 6th, where we will be ushering in a brand new monarch into officially through the coronation. It's been 70 years since they had a coronation, and now the big deal is that they're going to have one now. So welcome. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're coming from. If you like the royal family, if you don't like it, if you could care less about them. As I mentioned, my name is Deanna. I'm here from Hot for History. I typically do cover just things that are really related to quirky history events and just quirky stories in history. But I also am covering the royal family because I think it's really fascinating right now, because we are seeing a total shift in monarchy, and there's so much crap going on right now. There's so much drama. So, which apparently always happens. Like I said, let me know where you're from. I'm from Florida. This is a picture right here of Prince Louis, who is turning 5. He is King Charles's grandson, and he is turning 5 just days before the coronation. And so his mother, Kate Middleton, made a decision to take these beautiful pictures of him for his 5th birthday. She is pretty much the royal photographer. She takes many, many pictures, and I think this is so adorable. And speaking of adorable pictures, these pictures are so great. This was a picture of the Queen with her two of her grandchildren in the back, Lady Louise and James, and then her great grandchildren. But something's missing here, wouldn't you say? So I'm not seeing any of the comments right now. So if you are commenting, I apologize, but I'm not seeing it. Okay. So anyhow, there's an article out right now which mentions that perhaps this picture was a dig at Meghan and Harry. Why? Because there's 2 children missing, right? We do not see Lilibet, and we do not see Archie either. There we are. Hey, I love the royal family too. I'm from Phoenix. Hey, EH, my Tampa friend, who I always will probably see as being somebody who's from the UK for some reason. Just feeling that vibe, feeling that New York vibe too, which I've also got. So here we have a picture that Kate took, and this was taken, I think, in just like a year ago or something like that. And the thing about it is that Archie and Lilibet could have been present. And so what's really sad is that there is no picture of them with a group shot like this with the Queen. And I just think that is so sad. But Kate took that picture. And some of you could say, well, they were just so young. No, look, there's a baby there. And then look, there was a previous picture with the Queen with even littler babies with Prince Philip. I'm going to go back to that one. So the thing is, I'm going to read this article, and I want you guys to tell me if you think that it was released because Kate and Will are trying to snub Meghan and Harry. But I don't think it was that. It's a brand new photo to the public, but obviously the photo's been in their family for a while. And this is, let me read what it says. It says, Queen Elizabeth passed away just over 7 months ago, and it's clear she's very much on the hearts of those who love her. It's such a great picture. I know. I just really wish that I would have loved to have seen Lilibet, and I would have loved to have seen Lilibet on the lap of her great grandmother, and Archie in the picture too. To celebrate today, which that was yesterday on April 21st, which would have been the monarch's 97th birthday, Prince William and Kate shared this photo on Instagram of her with several of the royal family children. So some people are saying it's a dig, but I think it's just, I mean, what are you going to do if you don't have a picture with everybody in it, but you want to show her, kind of like all of the kids or as many as you can? It's appropriate, right? Today would have been Her Late Majesty's 97th birthday. They acknowledged in the caption, this photograph showing her with some of her grandchildren, meaning the two in the back, and great-grandchildren, was taken at Balmoral last summer. Now, last summer was the time that Lilibet and Archie could have been in the picture, but they weren't. It was noted that the photo was taken by Middleton. In the photo, Elizabeth is seated in the center of the sofa, and directly behind her is Princess Charlotte. To her left, Prince George, Prince Louis, Louise and James, the children of Prince Edward, and Sophia. It says Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, are standing in the back. Okay, to the Queen's right is Savannah. And behind, it's hard for me to keep track of all the kids. Savannah, and behind her is Isla, the children of Peter and Autumn Phillips, and the grandchildren of Elizabeth's only daughter, Princess Anne. To the left of her is Mia, holding baby Lucas, and behind her, on far left, is Lena, all children of Mike and Zara Tyndale, and also grandchildren of Anne. The daughters of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, Beatrice, and Eugenie each have a child. Okay, so yeah, we're missing 4. It's not just Archie and Lilibet. We're missing August, which is Eugenie's son, and Sienna, who would not have been born yet. Okay, and then it says notably missing are, Archie and Lilibet. While the tensions between Harry and Meghan and the rest of the family have been well documented, it's always been known that he and the Queen remained close. In a statement he made after the death, Harry referred to Archie and Lilibet as Elizabeth's beloved great-grandchildren. Okay, so whatever the reason for their absence it was certainly noticed by followers. Here's some comments that people made on the Instagram page regarding them not being there. Oh no, Princess Lilibet and Prince Archie are missing. It's fine though. Their grandma is watching over them too. One person commented, just missing beautiful Lilibet and handsome Archie. But we do know there's 4 grandchildren. One wasn't born yet, so technically 3 great-grandchildren. So I want to hear what you guys have to say. Okay, I don't know if it's a snub. And I think that's a good point since they weren't in the picture too. I think people like to, like the press especially wants to stir up stuff. I have a Scottish ancestor related to them. That's why he was banished and lived in the Caribbean. Oh, very interesting. I think the picture is as it should be. We do not care about Meghan or Camilla. Okay. The photo is a dig. Okay. Because Lilibet and Archie saw the Queen. Yes. During the same time. That was true. They were there. I think this was for the Platinum Jubilee, and refused to have photos with them because she had pink eye. Where's the pink eye in these photos? Oh, the Queen said she had pink eye. Okay. So you're saying that it was actually the Queen snubbing them. I'm just saying maybe it was the Queen snubbing them because she was concerned, I don't know, about whatever. So, it could go both ways, that the Queen was not amused with them, I don't know, bringing cameras in or whatever. Maybe she was uncomfortable. So speaking of the Queen not being amused, this recently came up. So I'm going to read this too, and I'd love to hear your opinions. As usual, for those of you who haven't sat in on some of my lives, I like to hear, just your honest opinions from either side. I really do. You love them, hate them. Eugenie's child is missing too. It's because Eugenie sides with the Sussex. Yeah, they're pretty good friends. Hello. Hey, wait a second. I didn't know you were in Quincy. Wait, Quincy, Mass? Are you in Quincy, Mass? Or are you in the UK? So I'm just curious, Stephen. I was just curious. I'm going to read this article, and you can tell me which Quincy you're from. So the royal family news, the monarch had no choice but to hold. Okay, so Queen Elizabeth thought that Harry and Meghan's wedding would break the royal family. Quincy, Illinois. Duh. I'm sorry. Of course. Okay, a royal documentary claimed that Queen Elizabeth II was aware that following Prince Harry's marriage to Meghan Markle, relationships were crumbling all around her. In other words, all of the other relationships that she had started to form, they were all kind of falling apart once Meghan came in. Now, I liken it to this. Like I had I've been in the entertainment business for years. I had a big band for years in New York City. My maiden name's Jones. It's the Deanna Jones Orchestra. We did huge parties, very high end celebrities and stuff. I'll tell you, one musician, I don't care if he was the best musician, but if he came in with a bad attitude, it would poison the whole band. And therefore, people wouldn't even dance as much. I'm not kidding. There's a vibe. Like if you bring a vibe into certain places and certain combinations of a dynamic, it really can shift things. So I feel like she's kind of saying that here. She was saying, the monarch had no choice but to hold fast and continue, but the relationship started to sour when Meghan came in. That's what the article is saying. Okay, so William and Harry decided to stop many of their joint ventures and follow their own projects. It's as though the fault lines are spreading and causing cracks within the royal family. That's what she said. Despite the Queen's careful guidance, the monarchy is coming undone. But at 93, she has no choice but to hold fast and continue. Royal author Katie Nicholl claimed that the monarch was exhausted. Imagine she's 93 and there's all this drama, and all she wants is everybody to be like kumbaya. Please love each other, especially my grandsons. Whew. The monarch was exhausted by her grandson's rift. She was exhausted by it all. She realized there was nothing more she could do to forego the reconciliation between William and Harry. And it's terribly sad that the twilight years of her reign, when she should have been enjoying her time, spending time with her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, was really marred by this awful family rift. And so basically it says, according to a friend, privately, the Queen confided that she was exhausted by the turmoil. She was very hurt. I didn't know she was very hurt. And told me, I don't care, I don't know, and I don't want to think about it anymore. Oh, it's so sad. I can't imagine. I would hate it if I was the cause of my grandma being stressed in her 90s. Seriously. Oh, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepping down from the royal family dominated news during the final years of Elizabeth's life. Okay, with that being said, do you guys have any comments on that? The Queen, apparently, this is just recently revealed. There's all these are you guys aware of all of these new books and stuff? I cannot read them all. There's just so much. This is a documentary called The Real Crown Inside the House of Windsor. I haven't watched it yet. Have you? Let me see what Stephen has to say. It's interesting how many social media posts are pro Meghan. No doubt from her camp. My grandpa was a famous drummer in big bands. Really? That is so, on the riverboats. That's amazing. I would love to hear more about that. So here's the thing. People do think the next thing I'm going to talk about, and what the title is, regarding this live, is that Meghan and Harry's team have been leaking some news. And mainly it's this news, which we're going to just show you in 1 second. It's this news. This is the big, big deal. It's the big deal. Apparently there were these letters that came out, and apparently, and I'm going to read this too, but I'm just going to tell you from from what I think. So apparently Charles, after Oprah, was like, oh, like what the heck is going on? Charles apparently is the only one who reached out to them after the Oprah interview. And since then, like he was the only one. And when I say only, I don't mean Eugenie, I mean like the senior royals. So he reached out. He was like, I'm disappointed. Like, I love you, but I'm really disappointed with what you said. And then Meghan apparently sent a letter back regarding the, what she calls the unconscious bias and the racism claim. So they have not produced the letters, but they do say that they were warm. They all agreed that they were warm, but it still brought, a rift. Okay, let me read what Theodora has. Love that name. Do they call you Theo? I just love that name. Why all of a sudden of these articles of Queen Elizabeth to hating on the relationship between Meghan and okay, so they seem to have a nice relationship. You always saw them laughing together. Well, and not only that, you also did see, everybody heard quite frankly, that Harry was like her favorite. So there was all that. There was all that. So you don't know. I mean, it could be also that, wait, now they're trying to say that the queen didn't. I don't know. I think that it's the type of thing where we don't know. We're just swirling in information. And basically it's like being in a carnival. You know, those really cheap carnivals that you walk through the state fairs where they're like, come over here and play here, go come over here and play there. I feel like they're vying for our attention and our favor. And when I say they, I mean both sides. They're like, Meghan's like, Meghan and Harry, we're out of favor. Wait, we better have another thing in the press, but then the royal family's the same thing. Well, the queen really didn't like them, so it's like they pay these PR people probably a lot of money, and we're just human beings trying to be entertained by it all, in all honesty. So we don't know, but you're right. We hadn't really heard a lot. I mean, I think we heard that she was disappointed, and I think we could assume. I would be really hurt, like, no matter how stoic I could be, because she was so stoic in the world and in life. When it comes to your personal family and you're getting older, but you don't want to go, hey, I'm getting older, could you please come? And then they don't come to Christmas. And then it's the next generation of your babies. And like, you only can see them probably once or twice in your lifetime. Like, you really are not going to see them very long. It makes me sad. Okay. The queen was stressed since the family started divorcing. Oh, yes. I mean, it goes back, doesn't it? I mean, we can't say, the queen, let's talk about the queen's stress going back from the very beginning. I mean, her family didn't even want to be, she didn't want to really be a princess in Buckingham Palace. So the stress, World War II, they had to live through that. They had to live through not knowing they were going to be king and queen, having a perfect little life outside of that. And all of a sudden they were thrust into being, her dad was the king. Then he dies. I mean, her whole life has been dealing with stress. But you're right. It's not like it's anything new to her, but still, it has to be, I don't know. You have to have this, even as I'm getting older, it's a totally different perspective on time and how precious it is. So I don't know. It had to have been heartbreaking for sure. I think it had to have been heartbreaking. I do. Okay. So I don't doubt her leaking. So that is the other thing. So everybody's saying, and by the way, I'm going to read you, even though I'm showing you Fox, there's all kinds of articles on the same topic. And whenever there's something released to People magazine, because that's always like, hey, you call up your favorite person and they know you, and then they release something. So I personally think that she leaked this. And when I say she, again, her people, like, like, let's, whatever. She is ashamed of showing up and fearful of being booed. As to Queen, the look from Meg and the Queen shrugging her shoulders said it all with her, I know. It makes me so sad. So, and again, then of course the Queen was probably like, well, please, I have pink eye. I don't want to be near your babies. It was probably like one of those things where, wait, you may be carrying, we know you're doing this Netflix thing. You haven't really talked to us, so what do we know? I think what I think of is like how it's interesting because we think they all have it together, right? Their press must have it together, but probably it's just this family that's like, are they going to have like a mic on them? Are they going to have, rather than just saying, hey, you can't go in there with a mic, so we're concerned about having a picture. Like, nobody's really saying the thing that they really want to say, which probably in some ways could have cleared things up. So let me just read a couple of things, and then I'm going to read this article and get your opinion on this. Princess Margaret and the Rolling Stones was stressful too. Princess Margaret was stressful. I loved her. But yeah, there was that, but nothing like this, right? I feel bad for the Queen because she had to deal with the scandals of the family. So many of them, so many. Okay, so let's talk about this. So it says, in her correspondence, the Duchess of Sussex, and somebody asked me why I call her Meghan and Harry. I mean, I'm American. I don't, and then professionally, I was like raised off of work at Disney and other situations. I'm not very often in a really formal setting. So at Disney, for example, when I used to work there, because I was a, little princess there, singing princess. Those you just call everybody the lead. Like they have this whole thing where everybody's on a first name basis. And then I'm American, like we're just not as formal. If I was in a more formal setting, of course I would call them that, and I will try to do better in that regard. But I don't know. I just tend to like, I'll call Kate, William, Will. I do call them Prince and Princess, but with Meghan and Harry, I don't often call them the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but I know them to be that. I just don't always do it. So anyhow, let me read the article. In her correspondence, the Duchess of Sussex allegedly shared concern about unconscious bias. I never heard that expression before in my life, before Harry and Meghan. I don't know why. And I am from a very mixed family. 3 of my children are literally African, from Africa. 1 is Hispanic. She considers herself not white. And then, I'm from a blended family. And so but none of us have ever used the word unconscious bias. The Telegraph reported Friday. Okay, so Markle sent a letter expressing her concerns over unconscious bias within the royal family to her father-in-law, King Charles, according to a new report. The letter was reportedly sent soon after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah in 2021 that unveiled allegations that were concerns and conversations about how dark Archie's skin might be when he's born. And then Meghan's correspondence was allegedly sent in response to a letter she received from King Charles, who was then known as the Prince of Wales, in which he expressed his sadness over tension within the family. Charles is believed to be the only senior royal to have made contact with Meghan following the Oprah interview, according to the report. And I'm glad that's great that he reached out. Several new details emerged in the Telegraph report, including that the letters named the member of the family who allegedly made the remarks about Archie's skin, and that Meghan and King Charles agree the comment was said with no malice intended. Meghan allegedly also told Charles that she didn't intend to accuse the royal family member of racism, but instead wanted to discuss unconscious bias, the outlet reported. The Duchess, 41, reportedly thanked the king for his letter, and while the tone of the exchange was warm, the family tension remains. A representative for the Duchess of Sussex told People in a statement that speculation that Meghan was not attending King Charles' coronation over the matter was ridiculous. They go on to say that was 2 years ago. She's not really thinking about that. Prince Harry, 38, addressed the couple's Oprah interview on another interview. I think it was like with Anderson Cooper, and was like, we never said they were racist. We never said that. You guys, it was the press who said that we said they were racist. During the revealing chat, Meghan claimed that there were concerns and conversations about how dark his skin would be. Okay, we already discussed that. So here we go, guys. Let it fly. Let me go back to the comments. The Queen and Charles met Lilibet and Archie, but refused to have photos taken with them. Okay. Thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so Theodora, she didn't link that letter. It's been debunked by her spokesperson. British media are crazy, scrambling for justification and stories. They are very aggressive. Okay, so whatever. I think even saying that maybe she leaked it, I don't know. Who knows? I just wish this rupture would heal. Yes, it hurts that Diana's son totally are estranged, and I feel bad that Harry is a stranger in his own country. I feel bad too, Pam. Like I think we all. I'm a romantic at heart. I get really excited to think that they would be, reconciled. All of them, including Meghan. I would be thrilled if Meghan had just continued her. I just feel like she would have been probably one of the most famous royals ever. They're just people, call them by their first name. Yeah. I personally don't get the back and forth between these two camps. I don't either. There was a photo recently clearly showing a microphone on her back, and I don't doubt that it's a consideration. Then William becomes king. Harry will get the strong arm of the royalty. Unconscious bias, ridiculous. So, I mean, it's possible to, I guess, start a concept, and I do think I do think we all need to think about like what our biases is to anything, and that there are things that we all do unconsciously that, but I mean, what would we do? We always call it an unconscious bias, but we could have biases for anything. So, I mean, the phrase is probably accurate in some cases, but I don't know. I don't know. Unconscious bias is racism without knowing it's racist. A school teacher wanted my son to play a magi because she needed someone black to play the African. That's unconscious bias. Yeah. I've got so many stories with my own kids. We should just have an unconscious bias event. Just joined your live. So glad I'm so glad you're here, Athena. I still don't have the Irish Scottish royalty thing going on. Okay, so there's just it probably won't happen until after the coronation. Question I have is Harry keeps saying he knows truth. You wonder what that's about. Yes, death of Diana. Okay, I think we all want to know. I don't know how are you guys like. I'm not going to get into it too much because on YouTube and stuff, you got to be careful of that kind of stuff. But I'm sorry. That is the part of me that wants to give Harry, like, we cannot understand what that would have been like because his mom dies and I'm sorry, it's a little sketchy. The whole timing is a little sketchy and I don't know. But at the same time, it could have just happened. And they're all saying that it just happened, but it just seems odd because of the timing. I'm just saying. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much for your support in the super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to get into the rabbit trail with Diana, but that I think is the underlying. Actually, if you want to talk about unconscious bias in regards to, let's say, Camilla, I think we all have. Let's start using the phrase. So I think we might have some unconscious bias in regards to Camilla, some of us, because of that experience. Like you're like, no, I don't like, but did Charles send a letter to them or to his son? Why would she answer it? I don't know. I think he probably, I don't have the answer to that, Deborah, but I would think he would have sent it to both of them. I don't know. I'd probably want to reach out to my son first, because I would just be closer, right? I'm guessing the comments about Archie's skin tone was just speculation on which parent. Yeah. So here's the thing. Every time, I mean, and I could be in an event where like we have these conversations. If you sat and you listened to my kids talk to each other, and I'm just in the kitchen or something, right? They have these conversations about each other, and they're all for like three of them are from like the same mom, and then there's like a different dad but they'll talk about that. Like they'll talk about it. And then my daughter, Matea, who's from Guatemala, she'll talk about stuff like that. They talk about hair all the time. Like, so they always talk about it. And they'll even say, when you have babies, like they'll talk about it, but maybe it's different. And maybe there should be a different, I don't know, expectation, I guess, from the royal family. Like maybe have those conversations in private. I don't know. But I think it's a common thing, just like Chris Rock said. But if it did bother her, then maybe they should have said something. I would have maybe dug into it a little bit more. I would have definitely. Okay, so thumbs up, listeners. Yay. Okay, so I'm amazed that you remember my question. Thanks. No, I actually looked into it, Athena. I could not. I was like, wait. They're about like the Irish stuff is about clans and families and all of that. So it's a whole different thing. Why does anyone care? I know. Well, we're just trying to be entertained. It's all entertainment. Harry has the red curly hair. Of course, they hoped the child would. I know. They're children. I mean, I can't tell. I've only seen the one picture of Lilibet really face on, like it was taken last year. But man, they made some beautiful babies. They definitely made some beautiful babies. Okay, so I don't have a bias or racist bone in my body, but it is common, I think, to discuss, and you just confirmed my thought. Yeah, and I'll give you an example. So when I went to Ethiopia to adopt my three children, this was in 2008, and they're siblings. They were ages 5, 6, and 9 at the time. And we were there with this amazing Ethiopian family from America, but also from Ethiopia. Now, there were some Somalians that were also in this mall. I mean, everybody to me looked the same, right? But they were so mortified because the Somalian family was louder than them. And like the people that were hosting us was like, that's not Ethiopian, that is Somalian. So strange, because I never really thought about, like, even from country to country within Africa, there's like all of this stuff going on. And then the other thing that I found really funny was that my kids thought that every blonde woman in a magazine was me. Like, there's like Elle Macpherson, there she is. Like, Heidi Klum, there I was like totally complimented, but I'm like, oh no, honey, that's not me. So the perception I learned through them is that, sometimes our eye, like, I don't know, we just see things differently, and biases can they're there. I mean, because the Somalian people, they did have a bias against Somalian people. The Ethiopian people had that bias, and yet it wasn't necessarily, I guess you could say it's racist if it's the country, like, but it wasn't because of the skin, it was because of their nationality, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think the expression, the phrase gets us to think, it gets us to go, wait, why do I do that? Like, why did I want that and not that? You know what I mean? So, good family do not concern themselves about the color of the unborn baby. I heard it was Camilla. Oh, so this was thanks for reminding me, because this was my other question, because this is what we all want to know, right? Was it Camilla? See, I was thinking the same. I was wondering. So you think that good, just regular family aren't gonna, like, because we'll say, will they have blue eyes? Will they have brown eyes? Will they have, no, they couldn't have blue eyes because, I don't know. They couldn't have, like, if we have two brown eyes, you could have a blue eye, but if you have two blue eyes, it has to be blue, it can't be brown. Like, we talk about that stuff all the time. So I don't know. I mean, you're just curious. But the thing that I will say could have happened with Meghan and Harry is that there could have been this real natural sensitivity, because she already was being called like Jenny from the block or whatever, from the hood. What did they call her? Straight out of Compton or something like that. So there could be like this heightened sensitivity from it. And if there's a heightened sensitivity to it, and they all knew that there was like this racist undertone, then in that particular case, I think that it was definitely hitting below the belt to maybe have that conversation, or not below, like insensitive. Do you follow what I'm saying? Like, maybe if a family is just naturally like curious, one thing, but if the family already, and if the press in the country that you're in already has that, and you're hypersensitive to it, and then that conversation comes up, it could feel like, ugh, whoa. So anyhow, okay. So do you guys think it was Camilla? Is that what everybody's saying? Not that, again, I'm just saying, I'm just curious. Yes, we saw where South Park made fun. It was pretty funny. I think talking about a child's hair color and texture was the last straw for Meghan. The hair color and texture. Ooh, I didn't realize that they had that conversation too. Yeah. I mean, personally, to be TBH, the royal family has had, a massive history through the generations of not really knowing how to deal with mixed stuff. It's been a very pure kind of a thing. There are royal families now that have blended and mixed couples, and even royals, but it's a relatively new thing. Although Queen Charlotte There's a, Shonda Rhimes. I don't know if she released it yet. I cannot wait to watch it. She was supposedly Portuguese with some African blood, very light skinned. I think the actress that plays her in this show has identical features. I mean, she looks so much like her, but her skin tone was much darker than what we've kind of seen in old portraits. But it is a relatively new thing. And TBH again, my experience with people who have been living in this type of luxury with so much money and not very connected to the real world, there's definitely stuff going on. Definitely, because they don't know. I don't think Harry is in tune with things. I really don't. Nobody even knew she was Black. That is true. I didn't know she was Black. She called herself white for a long time. Straight out of Compton. That was the line. Yes, I read that it was Camilla. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, so hold on. Oh, yes. Let's not forget Royal Baby leaving the hospital depiction. Oh, yeah. But I don't think that was, did I have that up there? Okay, good. I don't think that was the royal family, but that was the worst. I mean, this person should be like, I don't know. The worst thing ever. What in the world? What in the world? I don't even want to repeat it, but thank you for reminding me. Remember that Charles made fun of Harry's red hair as he was born. It made Princess Diana so upset. Yeah. And he always was teasing him, saying that he must be from some other kid, but they must know. And it interviewed Meg, said them, that it would hurt them likely. So that was a hint. It would hurt them if they knew. Referral to Archie. Oh yeah. Okay. So it was Danny Baker. That was what just, I mean, I can't even, I cannot even. Meghan is one of the most gorgeous women. Yes, she is. It's sad to me that she's always the victim in their eyes while being the most privileged. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it goes both ways too, because I feel like, I don't know. I just don't feel like Harry and Meghan have the sense of gratitude that they should have either. I mean, and yet I don't know what kind of stress they're going through, obviously, but it just didn't seem like they were bursting at the seams with joy from the beginning. So again, that could have been the environment they're in. And then this is where my mind goes off to, and I've said this before, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. We don't know. Like when I think of Harry seeing Camilla getting crowned, we can all say, oh, Meghan should have come too, and why is he leaving, and blah, 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 blah. But his mom, granted, she passed away a long time ago, but this is a deep wound that will not fully heal. It just won't. It's always going to be there. And then now he sees, and then there's the divorce wound. Don't forget that. And then he sees Camilla being crowned, and he has agreed to go and sit and watch it. And again, I know William has gone through it too, but William seems to have been, I don't know, William has, I don't know, weathered the storm in a different way because, he makes more money, is going to be the king. But there's that part of me that's like, okay, this looks so awful, right? And then there's the other part of me that's like, I can't imagine. And I would think there'd be a lot of flashbacks regarding your mom, right? Meghan was a millionaire before she met Harry. It's sad that the media acts like she is a gold digger. Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. She was a millionaire, but I don't know if she was that much of a millionaire, maybe a few $1,000,000. So it's a totally different thing, EH. It's like millionaire and like almost a billionaire, right? I was so excited when they got together. Same. Didn't even think she was Black and don't care. Harry and Meghan have both conspired to ruin the monarchy and ultimately ruin their lives. I feel like it has been very damaging. I don't know if they actually conspired to have that happen. I think in my mind, and you guys can tell me what you think, I think that they were probably thinking, we're going to tell our truth. We're going to try to make our money. Do they have, this is a great question, and I'm actually, Karen, really glad you brought it up. Do they have this thing where they want to bring down the monarchy? This is a great conversation for like a whole entire thing. Like, is that in their minds? Is that what they're thinking? Or are they thinking, let me tell the story. Let's be true. Let's, this is what they've done. It's not as, it's not as great as they think. Like, I am really curious to hear what you guys think. I believe Harry was afraid that Meghan would end up like dead like his mother. Yes. She had 10 million. Oh, okay. You must be like an accountant or something. You always have the numbers. William also was older, and because he was an heir, yeah. They are both spoiled, demanding people that truly need help. William said he worked to be strong and go forward. I also read it was 10 million, not an insignificant sum. That is true. That is true. And then back then, even though the royal family couldn't get people they couldn't just have designers give them dresses, Meghan could. Yeah, so it's not like she didn't know, but I think because Meghan was a businesswoman and had money, it probably, and again, just speculating here, if it were me, with my I got my $20 tonight from Steven. Thank you. I so appreciate it. But if it was me with my money, and all of a sudden I'm in this royal family, but I know what it's like to have millions. Sorry, like my eyes were watering. And what it was like to have million. And all of a sudden I'm in this almost like this billionaire family. I would make the assumption that, oh, okay, we have some money, we can do our thing. And so if we're working for them, we're going to make some money, right? But if you know you can make 10, 20, $100 million with all that you've got, like in America, and all of a sudden you're like, here's your $300,000 in the year and your 9 million or whatever for your staff. I don't know. EH, you can tell me what their annual takeaway was with the royal family. It's just natural when you're an ambitious person to go, we could do so much better if we're just on our own. We could have a better house where we're not bumping our head. I could have better clothes. We can produce things. We have creative freedom. We're not limited on our speech. I mean, let's really go there. I would think that if I were Meghan, I might think that. Now, the difference is, yes, in order to make a lot more money, you need to maybe leave your senior positions. But do you have to do what they did and have your actual brand be, let's destroy the monarchy? How about you talk about the monarchy? How about you do X, Y, and Z? How about you produce things, make the money, be separate so you could actually, survive? And I know a lot of people go, well, they had 10 million and he had 30 million. It's different because they had to live at a certain level, right? So the reason why I get critical is I just feel like they could have done it still. Bye. We love you. We'll come back for the holidays. Yeah, but we're going to produce these romantic comedies. We're going to do this. We're going to focus on the Invictus Games. We're going to go on the talk circuit. But does it have to be trashing the royal family? That's kind of where I'm at. Okay, so they are spoiled. Bringing down the monarchy is what they want. I don't think it's their goal. You don't think it was their goal? Someone more powerful. Okay, I feel like she played into his fears, knowing that the reaction would be, okay. And then Meghan had more money than Kate when she married William. Yes, 1,000%. But Kate was accustomed to that culture. Kate was pretty much groomed in the schools, and she was accustomed to that culture. She didn't have a frame of reference like, Meghan did, right? So it was a totally different vibe. She was, there to be kind of not necessarily the breadwinner or the leader. It was more like, I will be the wife, right? And do my thing. Don't mean to bring her down because I love Kate. I'm just saying it's different because Meghan's going to be thinking differently because we think differently as Americans. And then if we're in the entertainment business with our own money and all of a sudden we're like, okay, I'm married a man I love, but all of a sudden it's like, by the way, it's like camping when you're used to 15 bathrooms. I don't know. Okay, let me see. I do not believe that they want to bring down the monarchy, but want to make enough money while they are still in the news since he has to pay for security himself, Meghan, and the children. Yes. And if you're limited on your earning, let's say, and you're a creative entrepreneur, like for me, as somebody who likes to write, who likes to make videos, talk to people like you, show my opinions, have my free speech, it would be hard for me to be like, you can't even say it, when I was so accustomed to it and had been doing that all my life. And I think Meghan had been doing it almost all of her life. Okay, so why do people hate Meghan? Initially, what did Meghan actually do? Charles and William both advocated for the environment, but took private planes and helicopters, were crucified the same. Well, it definitely, there's always like, why is it okay for them, but not okay for what we think is happening. And not that I'm speaking for everybody, but like they're vying for our attention. So it's exactly what Harry was saying in the book. It's like, wait, they're looking over here. Look over here. Oh, wait, they're looking over here. Here's the coronation is going on. But let's talk about the leaked letters. Okay, wait, it wasn't Camilla's being crowned, but Harry must be doing something awful. So it's just sort of like this. We're watching tennis in a sense. That's kind of how it feels. And you're right. There's hypocrisy on both sides. There really is, in my opinion. I don't think they sought to destroy the monarchy. They don't have that kind of power. Only the people in Britain do, in England do, the UK, and Commonwealth could change the institution. And I wonder how the Commonwealth is feeling about all this stuff. Okay, so maybe they should have thought about these things. I think they should have. That book only had one purpose: to destroy the reputation of the royal family. I feel like Harry doesn't really have a pair. He needs to grow. Let's just put it this way. I feel like he needs some chutzpah. And I feel like he wasn't really taught, like, I don't know, how to have tact and poise and maybe discernment. That's the word, discernment. Sorry. But I feel like that he doesn't really have the discernment. So then it was like, okay, somebody's offering you some money to do this. So here, take the money, but you have to do this. Okay. He could have said, no, thank you. We're going to do this. So, but I don't think he knew. What other job did he have? He didn't have another gig. So he didn't know, because again, rich people problems, is living in la la land. So he just goes with the flow. And in other words, I feel like he wasn't truly empowered. Like if he really knew that he had authority, number one, he could have talked to his dad and everybody and said, this is what we want to do. Come up with the exact plan. And I know they said that there were 5 different options, but he could have said to them, this is what we want to do. Okay, well, we're going to go over to the States, but we want to do X, Y, and Z, and that's what we're going to do. And then when somebody approached him and said, okay, we're going to give you $100 million, but you're going to need to spill the beans, he could have said, no, that's not happening. We're still going to make $100 million, but we're going to go over here to this producer who wants us to do X, Y, and Z, right? So he could have been the producer rather than taking the production deals. You know what I'm saying? And I know that they say that they're producers, but I feel like he wasn't really riding the car. He wasn't really riding the car. That's what I think. That's my opinion. I don't know. Okay, so yes, they could have done it had it both ways. Seeing their documentary series, Meg definitely studied Diana and is very manipulative. Harry seems desperate. Yeah, there was a couple looks of Meghan that I was like, oh my gosh, is she giving him that look? I don't know. I'll tell you though, there's another thing that I have heard about Meghan that's polar opposite than what the press and everybody's saying. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, but he had worked on the crew, like with Meghan. He said the opposite. He said that she was actually really, really nice. This was somebody through somebody. Kate was already groomed, especially since she went to, they were like, it was the same kind of culture. Okay. Oh, please. I'm making enough for their security needs. They chose to live in California. How many people borrow homes from the rich? Right. He needs to grow something. Yeah, I mean, his security clearly needs more security now. But the people shouldn't have to pay for it. That should have been one thing I think that they got clear. I don't know. If I was the king, I'd be really torn. Be like, well, I can't be paying for you in America for your security. It makes it a lot more complicated. I don't have the same kind of resources. Plus, you want me to pay for your security and you're doing it? Like, I'm sorry, but there's got to be some kind of agreement here. I'll pay for your security, but that means that you have to be sort of a senior member and sort of do X, Y, and Z. Thank you, Stephen, for the hat regarding the hat. I was moving today and I got this hat. There's a link in the description if you want. It comes in different colors. So thanks for noticing. I had to cover my hair because I've been literally moving boxes. I want to get into the other place before the whole coronation thing. So I just was moving. So guys, so anyhow, this is fun to talk about. I don't know. Okay, so we don't know if Meghan's letters were leaked or if it was just out there. Here's my thought. Initially, I thought that she wrote them a letter because that's kind of what the press is making it out to be. She wrote them a letter after that and, you know, called out the person that made the comments. Either way, it would have been great for her to write a letter, but since the king wrote to her, it makes more sense that she would respond to him. Right? And it did say Meghan's letters, not Harry's letters. So it did make sense that she would respond. I would rather have a conversation because text and letters, no, I'd rather have a conversation. Yeah, she wanted security for Archie. They gotta watch that. That's a real honest concern. It's a real honest concern. That's probably one of the reasons why it stresses the royal family out too. It's like how it's harder to like protect your children and grandchildren when they're not on the same continent, you know? But it is a legitimate concern, you know? Yeah. Meghan wanted security for Archie. To your point, who's driving the bus? Harry is not that smart. I don't think he is either. I just don't think Harry's that smart. I don't think that the institution carved out a plan for other members of the family. All the attention and focus on the heir and the other people have to fall in line. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's as like in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're very structured and they've got everything. But it does seem that it's kind of organic. Like it's sort of like things are just happening. And unless you want to come up with a plan yourself and say, this is how it's going to be, and just be really assertive and say, this is what I'm going to do, you know, rather than I'm not really asking your permission. I'm just telling you. So I want to make sure that we can talk this out. People claim that Meghan should have known better before marrying the royal family when divorce rates are over 50%. Should all divorces have known better? Marriage is common enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't think, I think they were in love or are in love. I don't know. I think we don't know. We don't see them as much anymore, but I'd like to think that they're not having problems. But in my opinion, how do you not have problems with all of this? It's hard enough moving to another country, right? It's hard enough being estranged from both sides of the family, not having the familial support on either side. I don't know how they're doing it. That's all I'm going to say, because then there's all of that other stuff. But I think they married because they, believed that they wanted to be married. Okay, wait. You have to ask for appointment. Yes, you have to ask for appointment by a letter. You can't just walk in and talk to them. That's awful. I don't know if any of us could survive. I'd be like, hey, I am here. Yes, but you can't exacerbate things by discussing how many people. Oh, yeah. Back to the security question. What kind of who does that? Like, how could he have even thought that made sense? It wasn't like a fly, like it just came out and oops, can't edit it now. No, there's multiple edits in a book, and it was in the book. There wasn't one person who said, excuse me, that may not be a very wise thing. So it's like he's not making the wise decisions, but they're not surrounding themselves with people who are making wise decisions either. And yes, that was like, oh boy. Like that's like basic press training that they teach people. Don't say this, don't say that. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. For those of you who don't know, he compared the people that he basically offed in Afghanistan as chess pieces. Awful, awful. Harry is intelligent, but he had been conditioned to follow orders. He is now having to learn all this stuff. He has a lot of hidden skills. I think he's always been the most charming, I've said. But you call out, you announce the much older woman who's basically the same age as Meghan, who you had your first romp with. I mean, there's so many things that are so wild. Let me rephrase that: private and quiet. Okay. Thank you guys. I am going to call it a night. I am moving this hat. If you want, I just got it on Amazon, but there's a link in the description in many different colors. I had to cover my hair. And I so appreciate you guys. And we will be walking through the coronation. And every now and then I'll pop up to kind of have this conversation rolling and discuss it. Hey, EH, the one thing I do want to know, this is your assignment. I will look into it too, or anybody can do this. How much were they making and how much was their office making? Like how much money did Harry and Meghan have? What was allocated to them for their salary? What was included with that? And what was included for their staff and everything else? You know, I heard that it's a huge difference from like Will and Kate, obviously, but I am really curious. I'll research it as well, but I'm very, very curious. Okay. I am going to go, but thank you guys. Please do subscribe, share this with your friends, and we will be back on and we will be talking about this again in the future. Look in the description for all the things that we have going on and including this hat. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a great, great night. Bye.